All right. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited for you to join us today. Today, we're going to be talking with Lisa. So, she is a certified positive discipline parent educator, a cyber safety expert, and she is the director for the Center for Online Safety. So, she has contributed to the Wall Street Journal and has been a speaker for several summits and documentaries and workshops. So we're very excited to have her here with us today. So Lisa, tell us a bit more about how you got into the cyber safety area and what you're working on now.
So good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I came at it sideways. I became a parent educator because I needed the training so badly myself. I was floundering with my son, who's now 14, and didn't have the right tools. He was very strong-willed, didn't know how to connect to him. So I started taking all these parenting classes, and ends up I took so many classes that I became the educator to teach other parents. And same thing, as the kids got older, they wanted screens, they wanted more access. I realized how little I knew about the online world and how to keep kids safe. And I threw my heart and soul into researching how that happened. And we had some hiccups and bumps along the way. I had at one point a mom call me to say, one of your kids is doing inappropriate things online. What are you going to do about it? And that was kind of the line in the sand moment where I knew I needed to refocus on specifically cyber safety, educating the kids on one mistake can really ruin their future. So knowing how important being a good digital citizen digital citizen is for kids, and also what parents can do to help their kids be safe. And I call that being the guardrails for the internet, so that kids have a good place to play and learn and explore, but then they can bump off of us as the guardrails so that they never get too far out there and get exposed to really bad stuff.
Yeah, that's excellent. Oh my gosh, I'm sure that like every parent on this call right now can relate to that, saying, "Oh yes, I've been there. I've done
Oh,
that. My kids and technology." I know my kids have a complete meltdown when we try and get them off the iPad, or when they want to go on YouTube and it's restricted. So
yes,
it's definitely
yes.
a thing that we all struggle with, I think. So I'm really excited to talk to. There's so many things we talk about, but just to start off, so our youth today are so into technology. We know that a lot of times they're glued to their phones and their iPads and everything 24/7, and a lot of us are looking for that connection with them and feeling like we're struggling over it. We're fighting over attention from them.
Yeah.
Is there a way that we can stop fighting over screen time and reach that balance?
I think there is. The first thing that we as parents need to realize is they don't want to be on their devices all the time. It looks like they do, but they don't. We're not limiting it. And just like when we don't limit candy or other things that are not healthy, if that's all you do, that's the default. So if we give them a device and it's not limited, it's the default. I'm bored. I'm anxious. I don't really want to do my homework yet. I'm feeling something is not quite right, or I just want to connect. All of those are reasons to pick up a phone, and that's one of the main things. Is we've got to find out why they're picking it up, and stay with it. Be curious. Are you feeling this way? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling like you need to connect right now? It is possible to stop fighting, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that that's such an interesting take on it, because a lot of times we just, get angry and, maybe rip the iPad away from our kids when they're not listening, or things can escalate. And I know that, yeah, that's such an important connection to make between time on screens and what they're really, really needing behind that.
Mhm.
So, we as parents, a lot of times we don't really know how to handle screen time, especially when it's at our kids' fingertips all the time. So, what are some mistakes do you think that are really common that parents make when they're trying to navigate screen time rules?
I see three things a lot, that parents, when they're first starting to make rules, they make these mistakes and they don't realize what's happening behind the mistake. So the first one is that they'll lay down the law, they'll make some new rules, and they'll forget to include the kids.
Yeah.
And kids want to be included. They want to know that they have a voice, and it's respectful and a great way to teach kids going forward how to negotiate if you include them in the conversation. If you just say you get 1 hour a day, it's between 3 and 4 in the afternoon, they might not like that. They might want to do screen time after they do homework. They might want 5 to 6, or they might want an hour after school. Regardless of when it is, they just want an unlimited hour. So if you include them, it'll go much better. That's mistake number one, is not including them in the conversation. Number two is making a rule and then either forgetting it or realizing it's way too complicated and you're just going to throw it out. Being inconsistent, basically.
Yeah.
So you make a rule and then it just doesn't work out. You never want to think about it again. You've got to make rules that are easy to remember and enforce, which in my house means I don't use a timer. I'm not responsible for remembering my 3 kids' amount of time that they've been online. I use an app that just cuts them off after an hour or 2 hours or whatever we've agreed to. It's a way that I don't need to be involved. I don't need to use my brain power because I don't have a lot of extra brain power. And it really helps because I have a non-negotiable. You get this much screen time. And I know that this rule is enforced because this app is there to help me. So that's mistake number 2, is they just forget. It's easy to get inconsistent. And then the third one is our kids are watching us all the time. And if we are saying, you need to spend time with me, you need to get off your screen, but that's our default too, it's hard to be that role model. It's hard to have kids take you seriously when they know what you're doing. And
Yeah.
they'll call you on it a lot of times too, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my kids do that all the time. They're like, Mom, you're not looking at me, because I'll be like checking out something on my phone, and
Yeah.
then they're like, Mom, you need to look at me when you talk to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, that is
True.
practice what you preach.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, and I can totally relate to the being inconsistent. I mean, how many times do we as parents say, oh, get off the iPad or I'll ban you from it for, a month. And then, they're not really realistic.
Yes.
And then 2 weeks
Yes.
down the road, we realize, oh gosh, like they need the iPad and we need some
Yeah.
time off and they want to connect with some friends, while they're in isolation. And then we've kind of dug ourselves into a hole. And
Right. What
yeah,
was I thinking? This is punishing
yeah,
me.
exactly. And that's not really the best way to handle it, is it?
Yeah.
So yeah. I did notice, so in a lot of your conversations, you talk about a sideways conversation. Can you explain a little bit more about the sideways conversation and what exactly that is?
Yes. A sideways conversation is a conversation that's non-judgmental, that comes from you and I, we're on the same side against a problem. So I might start with a fact like, did you know adults are on their screens? They pick up their phones 150 times a day on average. Did you know that? And I'll just get in a conversation with my child. It's not about their bad screen use. It's not about me. It's just about a fact that I read or I can bring up that's like just based in curiosity, that's not judgy at all. And we can start a conversation there where I open myself up a little bit and I'm a little bit vulnerable. Hey, have you noticed me? Do you think I pick up my phone 150 times? That would be crazy. What about you? Do you think your friends do? So really come at it sideways, and you're gathering information as a parent as you go. You're looking for how they think about your screen use. They're also supplying information about their friends' use. They might even say, oh gosh, my friends, it's 200 probably. Or no, we don't really do that so much. So you're just gathering information, and it's a really non-judgmental, easy beginning to the conversation. I really like sideways conversations because they're not threatening to either party. It's just a chance to connect.
Yeah, definitely. And do you find that these sideways connections are easier to bring up and easier to bring up like screen time rules and other things if you go at them from, this sideways perspective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the more that you're a little bit vulnerable and asking questions about your usage and what do you think about this, the more open they are to having bigger conversations. And along with being a sideways conversation, I really do like to frame it around we're being used in a way. Our screens are using us. There are people out there that are paid to study human psychology and to keep us on these devices for longer. Did you know that? And that's another curiosity. That's another sideways conversation where kids, when they first learn that, they're like, "You're kidding," and they feel empowered to make different choices based on there are people out there studying us and wanting us to play games longer, to be on social media longer. It's us against that sort of addiction or pull that the device automatically has. The bright colors are there for a reason. The little notification, those are also there for a reason. They come at uh, very they come at times that are just when you're about to put your phone down, just when you're about to go do something else. Bing. Oh, I'm too curious, I got to pick it up again. So educating them on the psychology behind who builds the phone and that there are real people that want us to keep on it longer is part of the conversation. And then it can be us against this time-sucking device.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great, I love that. That's such a good strategy. And you were talking about, these facts and facts about the people that make, the games and the apps and stuff we're on. If someone wanted to get more facts and stuff, where do you find this? Do you just do Google searches, or how do you find the facts that you share with your kids and your teens?
Ooh, good question. Yes, you can Google it. My website, I have a lot of blog posts on the different research that I've done. There's been 60 Minutes episodes and different mainstream good quality articles that have come out. So there's lots of links on my website, centerforonlinesafety.com. And where else would you go? You could also go to a trusted resource like commonsensemedia.org or other places like that that just have tons of facts. The other thing is the giveaway that your listeners will have some of those conversation starters with statistics and research in it.
Yeah, excellent. Cool. And guys, we will link to all of those resources and online platforms. So keep an eye on the Connected Cares group, and it should be in your email as well. So yeah, that's awesome, because I think that is a really good way to start those conversations. And also I think a good way for us to have perspective as well, because um, our screen time use, and like you were saying, how kids see us using our devices, I think a lot of times we forget that we are also, the ones that are being sucked into the social media. And how many times do we sit there scrolling Facebook for hours and hours? So what a wonderful way to go about it, though, by connecting and really being self-aware of our own habits and connecting with our kids over shared habits that we may have with scrolling on Facebook, or watching YouTube videos, and that pull to really be stuck on our devices all the time.
Yes. Another conversation that you can have is, hey, I'm new to this too. Just like you're learning, I didn't grow up with this. So I'm learning how to budget my time. And when I have unlimited time, I feel like I waste it sometimes. And if I give myself an hour and then there's a timer at the end, I am a lot more efficient. So there's ways to bring that up too.
Yeah, definitely. I love that, because it's not just about having this conversation with our kids and laying down the law with screen time, but it's about really becoming aware of the effect that screen time has on us, and then really connecting over how we're going to solve this problem. So yeah, I love it. It's all about connection, and I think that, like you were saying, that's such an important thing for us to do with our kids, is find connection, because sometimes it's really hard. I know a lot of people find that connection is more difficult as kids get older and as they have more access to devices. So yeah, I absolutely love it. So I would love to hear, So when we're having these conversations, and you've given us some great startup conversations and phrases that we can use, what are some ways that we can really help our kids reach that balance between technology and connection and, outside life where they're not stuck in their screens? Do you have any like set tips or tricks or apps or anything that we can use to help achieve that?
Oh, such a big question. All right, I'm going to give you two apps and a tool. The tool is to lay out their time that they have available in a pie chart
Okay.
and then collaborate with them on, okay, if you spend 5 hours on screen time, what does that mean you're not doing? I know you have other goals. I know you've got schoolwork. I know you've got this, this, this. So really make a visual for them and list some of the goals that are offline that they want to accomplish that are important to them. And they can see if they're spending 5 hours doing screen time, oh, that means I'm not going to have a chance to walk the dog. I'm not going to get a chance to go to swim lessons, whatever is important to them. There's a balance there. And it's a great visual. Kids can see this is my limited time. If I do all this, I can't do that, vice versa. That's the old-fashioned tool.
Yeah.
And then the two apps that I highly recommend to every parent. Parents, you need an internet filter as well as a time limiter. I recommend Circle to everyone that I come across because Circle is an app that it has a monthly subscription and it lets you set bedtimes by child. So the phone is just a brick after 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, whatever you want, which really mitigates a lot of the risk that happens overnight. You don't want phones in bedrooms overnight. Bad stuff happens then. Phones need to be charging in a public space. So this Circle app, you can set bedtimes. You can limit by app. If you're not ready for Instagram for a certain child, you can say, nope, that's not going to happen. And also time limits. So it does all three things. Then the other app I recommend for anyone who's texting or on social media is an app called Bark, like a dog barks. And that's a monitoring tool that respects kids' privacy. So I don't hear anything from this app, Bark, unless my kids are either sending or receiving something that is on my list of, no, that's not right. So I get alerts if there's like sexual conversations or there's cyberbullying in pictures or words. And I, as a parent, have a chance to either say, oh no, the AI got it wrong this time, or, ooh, this is serious. I need to have a conversation. Obviously, what we've talked about so far didn't get through, and I need them to know they need to stand up when they see something wrong or whatever the conversation is. It allows me to be the parent and parent something that's invisible. Online behavior is invisible. So this app gives me a little window when I need to intervene and keep kids safe.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So, as a foster care, I've had situations like that where my kids in my care have been involved in online bullying and in risky behavior online. And yeah, it's so frustrating when you get calls, you know, 2, 3 weeks down the track after this has been happening by people being like, oh, did you know that your kid was, doing this or that? And it's so frustrating because, you want to address it. And by then, a lot of the damage, I think, has been done, if it's a behavior that's been going on for a long time. Yeah, so that's amazing. I love that. So I think that those are fabulous. So when you put these apps and you use these apps and stuff, do you have conversations with your kids about you're putting them on there so that they're aware that they're on there? And what do those conversations kind of look like?
Yes. For both of them, they're both, I'm transparent with both of them. Circle requires them to download an app onto their devices so they know about it. I wouldn't do anything like that behind the backs of kids just because it really ruins the trust. And it's important for them to know that Bark doesn't monitor everything. I don't get access to everything. It's not one of those apps that every keystroke is something that gets sent to me. I think those absolutely are a violation of privacy and trust for kids that have phones. However, I do talk about why bark is necessary. It's my number one job to keep my kids safe. And I can't do that when I can't see what they're doing. And I've taught them so many things in real life. I've taught them how to cross the street, but did I just put them on the side of the road and say, go for it? No. I had them look both ways with me. I held their hand the first gazillion times. We did it together. We practiced. We talked about it after. And then over time, I started trusting them and I watched and they did it. And then I can trust them now, right? There's a process of training that rarely happens when it comes to online world, and I think it needs to. We have to expect mistakes online. They're kids.
Yeah.
And so part of guiding them is just knowing when they're making a mistake and then helping.
Yeah. Oh, I love that because it's all a learning process, isn't it? Like,
It
yeah, as you're
is.
growing up, finding your place in the world, finding what kind of friendships and relationships and things are really beneficial or healthy and which ones aren't. That's all part of the learning process. And yeah, I love that um, being able to step into that and really help them in a space where they otherwise might not get that guidance, and where, you know, mistakes can really, like you were saying, really have a long-term impact. Yeah, that's so amazing. So when you put these apps in place and when you have these conversations, what do you find is with you and your kids and with your clients as well, what do you find the real benefits are, if parents are able to have these conversations, you know, put these steps into place, use these apps? How do you find that, in the overall scheme of things? What kind of connection or what kind of outcome do you think that really achieves in the home?
I think as important as the apps are the conversations that are just ongoing. As a parent, step one is to define what my non-negotiables are. Where am I going to draw the limit? No phones in the bedroom overnight. Respectful conversations only. Like there's a line that I draw based on my values. So every family gets to do that with their own values. Then the conversations start and it's ongoing, right? It's not just a one and done. It's over and over, and as they progress and they get access to social media and more accounts and games and all of this stuff, their exposure changes, and it's important to just continue um, the 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 conversation, and then using the apps frees up the goodwill instead of constantly saying, you know, you were on too long and you've got to get off, and taking away the devices for 2 weeks because you didn't follow the rules. It turns off and it doesn't work anymore, and it takes me out of the equation of being the bad guy. I can focus on positive conversations and, oh, did you hear this? Something that is going around the internet now is a little 1-minute video from the New Zealand government. I don't know, did you have a chance to see it, about pornography?
I haven't, but I'm definitely going to have to look it
We're
up.
going to have to link to it.
Yes.
So the average age that a kid is seeing pornography is now 11 years old. So
Wow.
that's another conversation that parents need to be aware of. We need to start having it before 11 and continue along the way. These are not healthy relationships. This is not real life. You know, it's just factual. You might see this. This is what you can do. Give them the facts so that they know how to come to you. They know it's okay to come to you. They know they won't get in trouble. Bottom line, they won't get in trouble. It's important to share that.
Yeah.
And you will always love them no matter what. That's the other thing, that in all of these conversations, that's the end point is, I know you're going to make mistakes. I will always love you. I will always be here for you. There is nothing that you can't tell me. It's so important for kids to hear that, because especially in social media, if they search for something like self-harm or some sort of a topic like that, um, social media algorithm gives them another video and more of the same, and it starts to just pile up and start to feel like that is the answer. And it's important for us to know that that might be happening and counteract that with, you can tell me anything.
Yeah.
I love you. You can tell me anything.
Yeah. And I really love that approach because, especially with teens, a lot of us tend to pull back from them or feel like they don't need us as much. And those relationships tend to be a bit more strained as our kids, with a lot of people as our kids get older. But I think that, like you were saying, is a time when they're really going to be exposed to even more of this, type of stuff online, and when they really do need our support and to, and so that they know that we do love them and that, have those open channels of communication, I think is really, really important. And I love that you bring that up, because I think that that's a key to really helping resolve so many issues in the home, where, so much conflict where it doesn't need to be conflict. So,
Pick your battles, for sure. Pick your battles.
yeah. You don't want to battle over everything. That's no fun, is it?
No, and they won't come to you if you're battling over everything, because there's so much ill will and conflict. So we've
Yeah.
got to turn that to be on the same side against a common issue, against a common bad guy, which in this case is screens. As much as I love screens, as much as I love technology, there is a time and place with them and without them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love how we talk about the ongoing conversations. Do you think that there's an age that you need to start these conversations at? Or is this like ongoing from the time they're little? Or when do you recommend that parents really start having these conversations about online safety and about technology use? When do you think that that is the most effective time, or is there a most effective time? Do we just start with our kids when they're super young?
We start when they're super young. We do the best we can to have a filter on any device they have access to, including yours, right? If you're at the grocery store and you hand a toddler your phone, oh, I've been there. However, make sure that there's a filter on there, because even if they're watching Sesame Street or something on YouTube, they're only one click away from something that may not be good.
Yeah.
So I think as soon as you hand a child a phone, as soon as you hand a toddler a phone, this is what's okay. If you see anything weird, or if you see anything that doesn't look like Sesame Street, you need to tell me and we'll talk about it. And again, I'll love you no matter what. But just having those simple 2 or 3 sentence conversations when they first start out, and then building on that over time,
Yeah.
that's going to be successful.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, because we think of technology so often with our teens and our preteens, and a lot of times we forget that, yeah, even our little ones, still have, hop on our iPads or our phones, and they still are just as vulnerable. I mean, my 4-year-old hops on my phone sometimes. She can't even read, so she just clicks on whatever pictures are prettiest,
Yes.
and that,
Yes.
I understand that can lead them to some really bad situations. So yes, I agree with that. I'm going to have to get a bit better about monitoring my kids. I'm really excited about these apps and tips and tricks. I know that we have the screen time fight a lot in our my daughter is 10, so she is almost 11, and she is very much getting into social media and wanting to connect with her friends and play Minecraft with her friends and download all the same games as her friends. So yes, I think this is really good to be able to step away from this and go and know what to say to her. To really make sure that she's being safe, and that we have that connection. So yeah, I
Yes.
think those are amazing, amazing tips.
One thing to consider when she's in this stage is to, like we were talking about before, as parents, we set our non-negotiables, and she's 10, 11, 12, right in that range. Especially my boys, but all of my kids, they started asking about different games, and where was my boundary around games, right? Was it the violent games? So was I going to say no to any violent game? Was I going to say no to any bloody game? Was I going to say no to games that you're the bad guy and you're killing police officers? Where was my boundary? It's important to define that as much as you can. Kids are always trying to surprise you. Oh, it's no big deal. My friend plays it. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. We really have to find out what's in this game. And the best resource for that is commonsensemedia.org. They have reviews from parents and kids on movies and games and any kind of app that you can think of. It's
Yeah,
my go-to source when I don't know what to think about something.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
there. You'll find answers, and it's a range of answers, which I really like because some people are more sensitive than others. So thinking about games, get those non-negotiables as best you can defined by you, and then share them. Our family values is I don't want you exposed to a bunch of bloody games or whatever it is in your family. It's important to talk about. This is something you can be proud of. We have high standards.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I know that there are so many people watching that are just going to take away so many good tips and tricks and have so many good conversations with their kids leaving this call. So thank you so much. For those that want to find out more about you and reach out to you and really tap into the resources and expertise that you have, how can they do that?
You can find me at centerforonlinesafety.com. I am also on Facebook, Center for Online Safety, and I have a private parenting group on Facebook. It's free. I would love for you to join. It's a range of ages of kids, parents with kids, range of ages, all talking about screen time, how to do it better. We are peaceful parents who are wanting advice and support from each other. That group is Parenting Digital Natives on Facebook. So those are the ways you can find me.
Yeah, awesome. And we'll make sure that everyone has the links to those so they can easily pop in. Yeah, and did you have anything that you wanted, a resource or anything that you wanted to share with the summit audience?
Yes, thanks for the reminder. I
Yeah,
have an amazing resource. It's actually part of my upcoming book called Stop Fighting Over Screen Time for Parents. Super
yeah,
exciting. So this excerpt will give you some of those sideway conversation starters. It'll give you facts and research. And then the other side gives you some rules that you can think about as non-negotiables for your family. We talked a couple times about keeping devices out of bedrooms overnight. That's one rule. Another is let's have an hour at around dinner time where we just say no screens. Screens go to a different room. We don't have TV on. It's just a time to kind of decompress and look each other in the eyes and know that we have this to look forward to every night. So that's a fun agreement to make. And there's a series of rules that I think are great starter rules to help you come up with your own.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait. I'm so excited for the launch of your book as well. That comes out in August. Is that correct?
Yes, early August.
Yes, very cool. And guys, for those of you that are part of the summit and are commenting in the group and posting your takeaways, keep posting because the person that posts the most takeaways and shares the most in the site will be able to win a free copy of Lisa's book, which is going to be awesome. I'm so excited to read it. It's going to be fantastic. So I just wanted to thank you so much, Lisa, for all of that knowledge. I'm very excited to see what the outcome is when everyone goes home and has these conversations. And yeah, the roll-on effect of more connection, less screen time, less stressing and fighting. I think it's going to be a great, great movement. So
I have enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you so much. And yes, we will see you guys in the group. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Take care.